What's up guys, D-Rock1992 here. For this next video and for my next movie review, I'm going to be reviewing one of my favorite action movies of all time. I've watched this movie a couple of times before, and I've loved it. It's one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest action movies ever. It definitely goes back to 80s and 90s action movies, and it's a good special remembrance of those films, 80s and 90s action films that were so good. This movie I saw in the theaters a couple of years ago, and I loved it. I've loved it ever since. I've watched it a couple times since theaters. And with this movie, I'm going to be doing, this is the first of two movies. One of them I actually saw recently, the sequel. And this movie is Olympus Has Fallen. Interesting fact. Well, actually, I'll get to that after, but Olympus Has Fallen, starring Gerard Butler, probably best known for the 300 movies. For the first 300 movie, which, he was so good in. Eckhart, who's known for a variety of roles. And Morgan Freeman, who just, he adds something to films, definitely. Shawshank Redemption, being one of the great films that he's been in. So, this movie is about a former Secret Service agent who had some trouble in the past before. I'm not going to spoil it, but something involving the president. Happened, and he's an ex-Secret Service agent. This guy is the only hope for the White House because there's Korean terrorists, North Korean terrorists, who take over the White House from the president and his Secret Service agents. And so this one guy, this former Secret Service agent's the only hope of saving the president and the free world from North Korean influenced actions and all that. So this guy is the best hope for not just the White House, the safety of the White House, but for the safety of the president and the safety of America. So that's essentially the plot of the movie. This movie's directed by a guy named Antoine Fuqua, who's directed some good films. One of the films he's directed has been The Equalizer. And I really enjoyed The Equalizer when I saw it a couple of years ago in theaters. I really enjoyed that movie. One of the best, just a really good film. Some other movies that he has directed, Shooter is one of them. Training Day with Denzel Washington. And Southpaw from last year, the movie Southpaw, which I'm interested in seeing. So Fuqua has had a successful directorial career. As I said before, Gerard Butler, Eckhart, and Morgan Freeman are your major stars in this movie. Gerard Butler plays the disgraced Secret Service agent, the former Secret Service agent. And he's really good in this movie. He thrives off of action films, Gerard Butler does. His strength is action movies, not really romantic comedies, which he has done to very limited success. He has not fared well in the romantic comedy category. Hollywood has tried to market him as a leading man in romantic comedies, and it hasn't worked. But they've been able to do it in action movies, and it has worked to a good extent. So Olympus Has Fallen is definitely another proof of it, for sure. Aaron Eckhart plays the President of the United States, and he does a good job. He does a very good job. He continues the great acting, the good skill, the good portrayal of a president. Harrison Ford played a president the president in Air Force One. Michael Douglas, I think, played a president in a movie in the 90s. There have been great portrayals of presidents in film history, and Aaron Eckhart's a good portrayal for sure. And then Morgan Freeman he nearly steals the film from Gerard Butler. Morgan Freeman is just so effective in anything he does. Any movie he is in, Morgan Freeman adds to it, for sure. No matter if it's a bad or a good movie, he always adds to it, and Morgan Freeman is just so good in this film. One of the supporting characters I gotta give props to is Melissa Leo, who plays, I believe, the Secretary of the Treasury or something like that. She plays like the Secretary of Defense or Secretary of Treasury. Secretary of Defense. And she gives a great performance in this movie. She really does. So that's another performance right there. Ashley Judd is another actress who's in the movie. Dylan McDermott, who's been in some films. Radha Mitchell, Angela Bassett, who has been in a lot of different films. So, a very impressive cast for this film. And there really is no bad performance in this movie at all. But the characterization comes second to the action. I mean, this is a rip-off of Die Hard, the famous Bruce Willis movie, of course. This is a rip-off of Die Hard, but it is a good rip-off. And it works so well. I mean, one guy against an entire army of Korean terrorists. So, there you go. I mean, he has to he has to stop the North Koreans, and he's in the White House, trying to stop these guys. And it's very effective. I mean, Olympus Has Fallen is, you could call it a good Die Hard sequel, because that's what it is. It is Die Hard. But the movie works. It is great action, good one-liners. There are good one-liners in this film. Some good comedy moments, but this isn't a comedy film by any stretch. It is an action film absolutely. It is an effective film. It is such a good film. Action throughout. Gerard Butler's great in it. Aaron Eckhart and Morgan Freeman add great performances in the movie as well. And I mean, the unique thing about this movie is it came out in 2013. There was another White House movie about the White House and an invasion of the White House that came in that year as well, and I saw that in theaters too, White House Down. I will probably be reviewing it if I see it again, which I probably will, but that was another film that came out in 2013 about the White House, and it's an action film involving the White House and all that. So there you go. I mean, this movie is absolutely awesome. I love Olympus Has Fallen so much, and I would have to give it a 5 for amazing / awesome. It is one of my favorite action movies of all time. It's up there with The Rock and Con Air. Probably Executive Decision would be on that list. Just so many. And this movie really does harken back to the old 80s and 90s action movies that were so successful back in the day and all that. This is a love letter to those 80s and 90s action movies, and Olympus Has Fallen just works. It really does, and again, I love this film. I really do. So that's it for this video on my review for Olympus Has Fallen. Stay tuned for because my next video is going to be the first 2016 movie I've seen this year, and the sequel to Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen. So stay tuned for that review. That's it for this video. D-Rock 1992 out.